Welcome to the 5G podcast.
We're glad you're here.
We hope you enjoy our conversations about God, guns, games, goals, and gastronomy.
Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode. We're back. So I was driving. I was going down to the casino as you do during work hours, obviously.
It's not like one of my coworkers. I need to tell you that story after this.
Oh, okay, good.
Hilarious.
Casino related stories. No, so I service. There's the new casino down off the Hunt Highway, like past Chandler. They call it Hunt Highway, but it's like just a 2-lane road, and then there's the res on the other side, and there's a giant casino there now.
Fair enough.
So it's like middle of nowhere, but it's kind of nice houses, nice places in the neighborhoods adjacent. And I'm driving and not expecting this at all. It's not a bumper sticker per se, but it's a sticker on the window. So I saw it out of the corner of my eye first. And I had to speed up to see what it was saying. I was like, get back here. Because I thought I saw it. I was like, all right, if this is funny, I want this. And then I had to like go the same speed to try to take a picture while I'm driving. Hilarious. So I wanted your take on that one. And if you could describe in detail.
If we were monetized, this would get us very quickly demonetized. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's absolutely fantastic. I kind of want one. It's a beautiful circle of letters with a male and a female characters next to each other. They're next to each other, and the female is executing the male.
He's got him at gunpoint.
And the text around it says, "Shoot your local pedophile."
That was so random. I had to take a picture of that. Like, because we've been talking about Sound of Freedom.
Yeah, that's hilarious. And then, have you seen on like social media at all that song that's come out?
No, I don't think so.
There's this guy, like no one knows who he is. This is like the only song he's ever released or some crap like that. Maybe not the only one, but like
he's relatively
never heard
small.
Yeah, and he released this song, and it's blowing up on social media because one of the lines says, "I wish politicians cared about minors, like minors, rather than minors on an island somewhere."
Oh,
and everyone's like,
"That's pretty funny." I like that. Minors.
Yeah. That's a good song. I'll have to show it to you later.
Okay, sure.
It's real good.
Is he like a country guy or like a rap or?
No, it's like country, like twangy.
Okay.
Almost like bluesy or like
bluegrass.
Yeah.
Sort of folksy.
Like Appalachian rather than like Western country.
Sure.
So
that's cool.
It's got that real he's got a real good twang to his voice. It's a real good song.
Nice. Anyway. Yeah. I thought that was funny. It's like an advertisement for like I don't know, military propaganda. Shoot your local pedophile today. Like,
Uncle Sam wants you.
I thought that was clever. Would you get one?
Would I get one? I would buy one.
It makes a big statement.
I wouldn't put it on my car.
I'm not a bumper sticker guy.
No,
either.
nor I. I don't put sticker. I think I have one sticker, 2 stickers that I put on my car.
Yeah.
And one of them is just a silhouette of an AR.
I'm even nervous with I've got just like an American flag with the FJB on my water bottle. I'm a little nervous about that one, but
I have a couple water bottles that I've been meaning to take a water bottle into work. But I can't bring any of my water bottles to work because they're all
stickered out. Yeah.
And my office is not like super liberal or anything like that.
Wouldn't get offended by American flags. Yeah.
No, but it's like I don't know if. Like, I don't want to...
You're relatively new at this
I'm relatively new. I don't want to, like, scare anyone off with my water bottle stickers.
Yeah.
But...
My other water bottle, the one I actually take to work, has just got a big corrosive label on it that I took off of a chemical drug.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. It's like,
that's hilarious.
I thought it was funny. I mean,
no, that is super funny. I kind of want one.
Right? If I find another, like, good condition sticker, I'll peel it off.
For sure.
But,
that would be great.
It's the diamond and everything.
Yeah.
Corrosive.
That's pretty
a chemical engineer.
So I wanted to tell you your casino story. You driving to the casino during work hours because you service them.
Yeah.
I went out to lunch. It was one of my coworkers' birthdays. This is like a week ago. And so he invited us all to, go with him to lunch.
Oh, fun, yeah.
All of us. our whole group went to lunch. And there's like 4 people. And so we're there, chilling, and he goes, "I'm not driving because I'm gonna have a drink." And I'm like, "That's very responsible of you."
It's
Even, I bet you probably have a good enough alcohol tolerance to have one drink and still be perfectly fine driving, but it's very responsible of you. Then another guy goes, "I'm also not driving because I'm also going to have a drink." And I go,
yes.
I
see where this is going.
Okay. So we get there, and we're all ordering, and they order their drinks, and it was like a vodka soda thing or whatever. I don't know what it is.
Vodka.
I don't drink, so I don't know what the heck
they
ordered.
They had fancy
this,
names,
and it was like a margarita mixed with vodka and whatever, and it was like in a glass. Like it was like a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It was like a lot, and I was like, "Wow,
one drink."
No, for real.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Geez, that's a big one drink." And then. But I was like, okay, that's fine.
Right? Yeah, he's not driving anyway.
He's not driving. The other guy is not driving. They both are kind of partiers, so they probably have pretty fine alcohol level.
Again, it's a birthday, so it's a good. Yeah,
it's like okay, whatever, right?
Even in the middle of the workday.
Yeah, on a Thursday too.
Thursday.
This isn't like a Friday where like they're maybe gonna go home early. This is like Thursday. We're there.
You have to
we
go
out to lunch at 11.
Mm-hmm.
And we work until 5. So there's still 6 hours of the workday left.
Yeah. Wow.
Right.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we're there, and we order our food, and then they drink their drinks, and they both have water cups. So I'm like, oh, they're just gonna have water for the rest of the time. The waitress comes back with our food, and they go, and I'm like, oh, and so they both get one more.
Oh, jeez.
After that, they both get one more.
Oh no.
And so by this time, one of them is like fine. Like he like would be fine. The other one is slurring his words.
Oh, jeez.
Like crazy. It's hilarious.
Is your boss there too?
Yeah. And she's just like totally fine. She's just like
whatever.
She's sitting across from them.
So she can see this all happening. Yeah.
Yes. And she's like, "Dude, how are you gonna underwrite?" Because he's an underwriter.
Oh,
which, for those of you who don't know, an underwriter is someone who determines the value of a property so that the bank or the lending company can fund a loan on that property and make sure that their risk is minimized based off of their valuation of it. And so he evaluates not just like the single family residences, he evaluates and underwrites all of our commercial properties, which in some cases is like $47 million.
Millions of dollars. And he's got to get it right. Like,
yeah, and if he doesn't, we can lose a.
He's like, we'll just forgot a zero there. It's no big deal.
We were all joking. We're just like, yeah, man, just start throwing the yes.
Approve everything.
Yeah, exactly. It was so funny. So that was my story of
nice
work.
Very funny. So let's jump into. I don't know if this is the big topic of the day, but.
Probably a medium topic of the day.
I'd say a medium topic. It's certainly one that we've talked about it several times, so we got to hear. I still have not deigned to get a Netflix subscription to watch this show. I don't know if I will.
You shouldn't.
Yeah.
No.
And apparently I shouldn't. So
talking about The Witcher.
The Witcher 3 again.
Witcher 3 again. We talked about the first half when it came out, and I binged it in one Sunday or something like that. Maybe 2 days.
And you liked the first half.
The first section, so I think it was a total of 9 episodes. And the first
5 or 6.
Maybe 10 episodes. And the first tranche of them, the first like 5 or 6 episodes, was really good. They were really good. Like, I enjoyed them. The storyline was complex but streamlined, and there was an action and no stupidity.
Yeah.
Like, there was no politics thrown into it, at least, or rather, there was no, like, our world politics.
Yeah.
There
was
world political intrigue in the show, right? Where it's like, oh, this faction is, like, doing this with this faction, right?
Sure.
But nothing like social justice bullcrap, right?
Just randomly thrown in there.
And then the second half comes out, and I was actually pretty excited to watch it because it ended on a good note in the first half, and I was like, wow, this would be really cool. So it comes out, I watch it. The first episode was okay. It was fine. And like there was some stuff that went on where I was like, whoa, this will like super change the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the second episode, which will be like episode 8 or whatever, was pretty crap.
Yeah.
Pretty crap. And I was watching it at 1.5 speed, and I checked my speed on the episode like multiple times because it felt slow at 1.5 speed.
That's the one we talked about this week. That like my dad
gosh.
and his friend had to watch it together because his friend tried to watch it and fell asleep. Like,
yeah,
he could not get through the
it
episode.
Was horrendous.
My dad was like, "Well, yeah, no, I don't blame you."
Episode 9 was worse. 9 was so okay. There was 9 episodes total because episode 9 was the last one.
The last one,
and it sucked. It sucked. They didn't like progress the story at all.
Just nothing happened.
There was like 3 things that happened that were like, okay, yeah, but we knew that was gonna happen. Like you're not like progressing the story. You're just you said that this was going to happen, and then you showed us that it happened. You're not like creating more stuff, right?
Oh man.
And they just decided to take all of the social justice junk
that they
omitted from the first 6 episodes and just shove it into this last episode. Just absolutely shoved it down your throat.
Man.
And I was like, are you joking? I was very pissed.
Yeah.
I was very pissed. And because at the end of season 2, I was like, man, I don't think I'm going to watch season 3.
Yeah.
And then I saw one article or like one YouTube video or something like that said, hey, first part of The Witcher actually is pretty okay. And I was like, I liked the first season, so if they do it like the first season, then maybe I'll, maybe
Henry Cavill's good.
And I liked it.
Yeah.
And I liked the first half of the 3rd season. And then the second half of the 3rd season was probably some of the worst television I've ever watched.
Wow.
Like, legitimately, like, I think that Caillou PBS shows are better for me to watch now. Like, I would be more entertained by watching Blue's Clues than I would by watching the second half of The Witcher season 3.
Wow.
I was so devastatedly annoyed by it.
That's impressive. That is impressive. Wow. Yeah, no, I'm shocked.
Yeah. So cancel your Netflix subscription at this point.
There's nothing else. Nothing else worth watching on there anyway, so
I mean, heck, I think the only good this is a hot take off the top of my head. I think the only streaming service that's probably worth it right now is HBO and Prime.
And Prime, yeah. That's fair.
Like, and I don't know, like, I mean the major streaming services,
yeah.
Right? I'm sure there's, like, I don't know any of the anime streaming services that are probably fine.
Just Crunchyroll,
yeah,
is the biggest one.
I mean,
and that has basically every anime you want, so they get everybody. So
that was, I don't know about them, but
yeah.
I mean, like,
well, and Prime has the benefit of obviously you get Amazon Prime shipping with it, so it's like that's huge. And then HBO just has tons of movies, like,
and their shows are good.
Yeah, their original shows are pretty good, actually.
I just watched one with Kit Harrington,
who
was the
Jon Snow.
Jon Snow. It was a 3-part limited series that he I think I don't know if he produced it or wrote it, but he approached HBO with it.
Okay.
And it was about the Protestant Reformation in England.
Interesting.
And he plays a Catholic who is attempting to it brings in Guy Fawkes.
Really?
And he's a compatriot with Guy Fawkes, and when Guy Fawkes attempts to blow up Parliament, and it's kind of like that story. It's very interesting.
That is cool. I watched
very
that,
good.
Actually,
it was very good.
That's I know I've recommended this one to you before, but since we're on the topic again, HBO Warrior is super good.
I have it saved.
Okay,
I have it saved on my list.
Yeah, because it's super cool. It's like, again, semi-historical accurate, but also dramatized to be like, it's cool, like Chinese martial arts. But then also like Irish policemen, and there's cool like political intrigue. It's it's a good show.
Yeah. So HBO and
Prime are doing solid.
But yeah,
about The Witcher. The one thing I saw, which is like my biggest complaint, at least from what I watched, from what I saw of reviewers, my biggest complaint would be that there's not enough Geralt of Rivia. There's not enough of The Witcher when the show is called The Witcher.
No.
And so the one YouTube channel I saw, they said, in the second half, it was like 3 episodes. The runtime was like 2 hours and 40 minutes or whatever, not including credits. They like
Oh yeah.
they did the math on it, and then they were like, Geralt is on screen of the 2 hours and 40 minutes. He's on screen for a total of 19 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the last half, I'm like, that's not The Witcher at that point. That's a different show.
Yeah. It was really really bad, and for 16 of those 19 minutes, maybe not 16. Let's see, 19 minutes. There was one really cool fight with
Oh, okay,
him
yeah.
and
Siri.
no,
Oh,
I
one of
don't.
the.
It's a name that starts with a V. I don't know.
Oh,
The mage who he like betrays everyone, and
not Yennefer.
I want to say Vanderbilt, but that's not.
The bad guy mage.
Yeah,
Yeah, but then doesn't Geralt get his butt kicked on that one?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's
okay.
what I'm saying. That's the
Okay.
only fight scene that was like good,
Yeah, I
and
gotcha.
it was like fun to watch. I actually slowed down. I put it to one
normal
time speed, and
Watch
it was
the
pretty
fight.
dope.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, but then after that, he gets obliterated by Vordasker Masker.
Viserys.
Nope,
No, that's
that's
from
from Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Whatever his name is,
Vortigaunt.
something like that. Anyway, he gets decked by him,
And then he's out for the rest of the season after that, right?
yeah,
'Cause
they
he's
show him
healing.
like being healed, and it's like, Caden, like, it was very frustrating. He goes to a bunch of wood elves,
Yeah, elves.
druids,
Mm-hmm.
and they just like pour boiling water on him and like do higga digga digga over
Hey,
him,
magic.
and then he's like doesn't get healed, and then Triss, one of the female mages, comes in and goes doink, and he's like perfectly fine.
Why didn't we do that?
And it's like, why didn't we just like? And you know what's even more pissy is that Triss dropped him off at the druid's place.
No way.
She brought him to the druids.
How did she carry him?
Magic? I don't
Oh,
know.
okay, magic. Yeah, all right.
Magic. Catch all.
It's only when you need it to be, though. When we need him to sit in the bed for 3 episodes.
There's also a really, really dumb fight. Man, this really pissed me off. This might have been in the first half, though. Can't remember. No, it was definitely the second half. Yeah, it was definitely second half. There was a big old battle between the elves and the mages at like the island fortress or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
And
So the elves got their butts kicked.
no,
Oh,
they won.
do they have mages too?
No, they might have like one or two magical
Couple?
users.
Yeah.
One they had one like the queen was like their magic user.
Sure.
But then it was a bunch. It was like even numbers of mages versus elves, and the elves had deuterium tipped arrows.
Which is like the.
And you know what the
kryptonite.
mages decided to do? Instead of like shoot fireballs down corridors,
Yeah.
they decided to all gather in the courtyard.
What?
And have all of the elves on the balcony around the courtyard just shooting them with arrows. And they're all in the middle of the freaking courtyard.
They were like, let's stand here in this execution room.
Exactly.
They just get
It's like, oh
skilled.
yes, we have our own death pit for our archers to. Oh wait, we're
Wait
in
a
the
second.
death pit.
We've seen season 1 the raw destructive power of the wizards in this show. From the battle at the end of that season, when like especially when Yennefer is like separated, or at least she's split off, and she
Yeah.
can just go like full firestorm.
Yeah.
So it's like, why not split up the wizards so they can all go full firestorm?
It was very frustrating.
Yeah.
And they can also teleport. Just freaking leave.
Just leave.
Just leave and then guerrilla warfare with portals.
Or isn't like, because their castle, isn't there like a bridge out from the mainland? Can't you just like destroy the bridge? And the elves can't cross? Or am I wrong in that?
No, you are correct.
Okay.
And it's just a wooden walkway. It's not like a nice wood, just like stone bridge. It's like,
You don't even need a firestorm. You just need a lighter, and
yeah,
then oh no, the elves
or a
can't get
freaking
you.
axe. Just go chop, done.
I know this. Maybe it seems too obvious to us, but it's like you have a castle. I don't know. Just put siege equipment there. Like,
Well, so like they did in the elves did infiltrate sneakily,
Okay,
right?
okay.
So I didn't care that the elves got into the castle because the way they did it was fine.
naval assault.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, all right.
Yeah, they
That's what I would have done.
used magic to fog up the sea and then came in on boats and then snuck up through a passageway and all like God, and it was during like a party, so
Oh, okay. So guards were low. All right, that's fine.
so like how they got in was fine.
I'll
But the
cut this in a
battle,
sec.
oh my gosh, it was so dumb. It's just dumb.
rough. Yeah, if it's even numbers of wizards versus non-wizards,
Deuterium tipped
the
arrows.
wizard should retire.
And then one of the main, what was her name?
Wizards.
The main wizard lady,
Tisea.
Tisea. Yeah, she like got super mad and then like summoned her chaos and like blasted the husband of the Queen of the Elves, who's not the king because I don't know why. But he was like going to. She was like shooting this like ball of destruction at the Queen of the Elves, and he like jumped in the way, and he just got like obliterated,
Oh, jeez.
like vaporized,
Just
like
disintegrated,
atomized.
Thanos snapped, like
Basically, it's
dust.
like there's like chunks like this big of it, like a baseball size. Like that's it.
Wow.
And it pisses off the Queen of the Elves. But I'm like, hey, if like you can do that, and it was just like a kind of like a, hey, yeah, Hadouken, like nothing crazy. I was like, if you can do that, why can't everyone just like, and oh, look at that, elves. No more elves.
Gone. Dust.
It's like, seriously? It was very pissy.
That is weird.
Anyway, not a fan of the last part.
Don't recommend.
We can stop beating that horse.
Sure. Let's beat another horse.
So, Baldur's Gate 3 is coming out.
It's already out.
It's already out. Okay.
Came out last week or 2 weeks, something like that.
I've seen a bunch of news articles like suggesting it.
Yeah.
That's like I'm on that side of the Google suggested articles of nerddom and stuff like that. But I've never played one of these Baldur games or like I've heard of it. That's it.
Yeah. It's for a lot of people. It was kind of like our generation growing up. You had the first Baldur's Gates 1 and 2, which were awesome, and then this is a relatively small game company. They did a couple other ones that were popular a few years ago. It was kind of their resurgence, called Divinity Original Sin. They had 1 and 2 of that series. And it's a Dungeons and Dragons style RPG where you control the whole party. And it's like the social interaction is just like Dungeons and Dragons where you roll dice. The combat is just like Dungeons and Dragons. You're kind of on to simplify it for a game, a video game, you're on a tile and you move your characters and they have their spells and their attacks or whatever. And so yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 came out. It was highly anticipated, and it's pretty much overwhelmingly positive. Everyone liked it.
Good.
I've even seen like random streamers play who like kind of like you. They've never played this style of game or even like Dungeons and Dragons, but they're like, everyone says this game is good, and they enjoy it. Character customization's on point because Dungeons and Dragons has got tons of races, so you can pick whatever you want. Yeah, again, the social interaction is cool. I like the interface is that you actually like roll a d20 and it shows the like rolling. If you have to like make a deception check when you lie, it'll be like crit fail, which is hilarious to like see in a video game because you're like, what? If I'm good enough at charisma, I should just be a charismatic person, but it still has dice rolls, yeah, which is great. And then the interaction with your party members is cool because they all have like really unique stories. That's another thing I saw kind of highly praised. But I wanted to talk about 2 things. One's slightly more political than the other, so maybe we'll start off with the heavy topic.
Okay.
Right, talking about the characters. I've heard all the character development is great. Everyone likes the party characters. It's super cool. But there have been complaints that I don't know how to preface it, but every single one of your party members is apparently pansexual, meaning they'll swing either way based on the gender of your character. You could get in a romantic relationship with anyone in your party. And so they've actually come up with the term player sexual, which is kind of funny.
That's pretty good.
It is pretty good. Which, like, from a developer standpoint, they just were sure. I'm sure they were just like, yeah, whatever, why not? Like, we'll just give the option there to everybody. But then people have been complaining about it that like that ruins their characters because sexuality is a part of your character or whatever. So like now they're all just pansexual, different from previous RPGs where you could only have gay relationships with the gay characters and straight relationships with the straight characters, or this one wasn't interested in you at all, or whatever. Now they're just all horny and they all want to sleep with you.
I mean, I guess if they're all bards, that's okay.
Yeah, right, right. If the main character's a bard, he's just
Well, I was just gonna say, I was like, they should base it off of your charisma.
right. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
if your charisma is like, if you have a 20 charisma,
Then you can get everybody to
then it's like, yeah, everyone is pansexual for you.
the player sexual. Whereas like if you're like an 8, you can only get the barbarian or whatever the other dumb characters.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and so I found that intriguing reading that because I would assume that it would have been praised as like, oh, this is so inclusive now. Look at how far video games have come. As far as like, we probably got homosexual relationships in video games only like 10 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't do the research, but now it's like, oh, now it's like you can pick any character you want and like try to have a relationship. Ooh, and the role playing of like, I want to be this character in Baldur's Gate 3 and I get to role play to whatever. But now apparently they went too far. Now it's too inclusive. Steven's thoughts? I roll.
Steven's thoughts don't have any. Just, like, I don't know. I don't like. I think it. I honestly think it's a good thing in the video game. Like, if you want to have a relationship with a character, but they're like, no, you can't because they're straight or they're gay and they're only. It's like,
Yeah.
well, that's dumb.
Like
Like if you want that thing in the video game, like you should be able to have it, I guess.
and the whole point is it's a role playing game, so it's like not only are the characters real, but it's like every time you play through the game, it's different.
Yeah.
It's different.
So like for them to try and like, I don't know. I don't know. I think it would have
Yeah.
been cool to base it off of your charisma,
Yeah, yeah.
but I can understand how difficult that would be to code,
Mm-hmm.
to like try and program into like, yeah, this character has this charisma and you have this charisma, but also you have this feat and
Yeah,
this, like
that
with all the-
allows you to-
yeah. So like if you're a bard, you have a really high charisma, but also you're a bard, so you can woo them with a song or whatever.
Sure,
right?
sure.
So like you can get anyone.
Different
but if you're a
abilities.
barbarian who happens to have like a medium charisma, it's like, yeah, but you're still an ugly barbarian.
Yeah.
So even you could be like the most charismatic person, but you're uglier than sin.
But you're a type, like you're big and burly.
Yeah.
And not everybody's gonna go for that.
Exactly. So it's like that would be such a pain to code. Where it's like,
yeah.
So instead, it's like everyone can have everything.
Just
It's
go
way
for it.
easier.
It's the freedom of
Yeah.
of-
I don't care.
yeah, exactly. I don't care either, really.
I just think people want something to complain. They're like, this
Yeah.
game is too good.
That goes into my next topic. Hold that thought as
Okay.
I brief tangent that I don't care about romance in games at all. Short story. I played Mass Effect 3 when it came out. I think I played Mass Effect 2 before that. Mass Effect 3 was a great game. I enjoyed it. I played through the whole game. And then afterwards, I was talking with my older sister about it. Like, she had played the game too. And she's like, oh, yeah, who'd you romance? And I was like, there was romance in that game? I just kill aliens and save the world. Like, she's like, what? That's like the best part of the game. And I was like, oh, not to me, it wasn't. So anybody can take whatever they want from the games.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect me. Like,
Yeah. That's like my wife. Whenever she was playing Stardew Valley,
oh yeah,
and
yeah.
she was trying to woo this one guy or whatever, and she had to bring him like a fish or something like that. And I was like, you're spending so much time bringing this guy fish.
Trying to woo this one
Like,
guy.
you could be doing so many other different things.
Yeah.
It's like, no, but I have to have a husband. Does he do anything? He's like,
He's a work slave.
yeah, basically.
Tend to the fields while I leave. And
Exactly.
that's funny.
Make the cheese. Apparently, you can make cheese in that game. I don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't play it, but so
Um,
what's your second point then? That
yeah. So my second point, people are just finding reasons to complain about it. This time it's not the players per se; it's other developers. And I've never heard this before, but apparently this also happened with Elden Ring, which was made by From Software. They're again a kind of a relatively small company, but you can tell these small companies making games that it's a labor of love. Like they
Yeah.
put a lot of effort into their one game because they're only making the one game at a time, and their whole teams on it. The complaints I've started to hear this week from other game developers are mad at these guys. I think they're called Larian Studios for over promising and over delivering. They're saying you guys made Baldur's Gate 3 so good that it sets a high standard for the industry, and that's just not fair. And players shouldn't expect to see this in every game.
Yes, they should. That's the point.
That's the point. Is consumers will vote with their wallet and buy good games. They should expect good games.
Is it like Blizzard coming out and saying that?
I don't know if it was Blizzard.
Activision.
It was a few distinctly Western game companies. Like the Japanese ones were like whatever.
Because the Japanese ones make great games.
Yes, exactly. Like FromSoft made Elden Ring, and it's a great game.
Oh, they're Japanese.
Yeah,
okay.
Uh-huh.
I could see that.
And so it's like Elden Ring again, same thing. That had this huge open world. There was so much to do, and almost too much to do for one game. And it's like Western developers who are led by like Western executives making money decisions. They're like, no, that's too good. You're over delivering. Steven's opinion.
Steven's opinion
growls.
Steven's opinions are eye roll and growl this episode.
That's no words. No words necessary.
I orc. No, I think that these CEO. This is not just a video game problem. This is a Western company. Maybe not even Western company, but United States company problem. Sure. Maybe Canada might be involved in this. I don't know. No. But, like, you have these CEOs of companies who aren't good CEOs. They're good CFOs.
Sure. Okay.
They focus on the money of everything.
Always.
And it's like, Kate, if you want to be a money business, a business that's product or that is money driven, then go work on Wall Street and go trade stocks.
Yeah, there you go.
If you want to be a company that has a product or service, and the company was founded on that product or service,
with a loyal customer base,
with a customer base that is like ravenous for good stuff, then if you produce good stuff, they will buy it.
Yeah, they'll keep
and you
coming.
won't have to worry about your top line.
Yeah,
you can edit your line items in your, what is that freaking called?
Your spreadsheet.
Yeah, but your budget or your there's
profits.
All my business classes have gone out the window apparently. But you can edit your line items to get your net revenue, to change your net revenue, but your top line comes from your customers.
Yeah.
Your gross revenue comes from your customers. And if you are top line focused, you're going to be screwed. Because you're like, oh, we have to just, okay, this brings us into Magic.
Sure.
Because I think they're doing the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Where they have seen Magic and video game companies usually start out, and many companies do this, start out where they're like, I have a product, and I love this product. Or I have these ideas for X amount of products, or like this
a whole line
thing of products, right? Or like, whatever it is. And they say, I think that this is going to be the greatest experience or product or whatever for my consumers. And you go to market with that product. And you don't really care about how everything works in the back end. You don't care how your accounting works. You don't care how your marketing
You don't worry about that.
You don't care about all that junk. All you care about is my product the best that it can be for my consumers. And sometimes you say like, well, it's not plated in gold, but that's...
so you got to make some sacrifices, yeah.
Like, that's fine. But as long as it delivers on what you promise, or over-delivers...
Or even over-delivers.
Which is great. But as long as it delivers on what you've promised, and what the expectation was, then you're winning, right? And you do need to make sure that your business is sustainable, right?
Yeah,
you can't spend $1,000 to acquire a customer when they're only going to give you $100 in purchases, right?
Right.
But if you are able to spend $100 and they give you $1,000, then that's fine. I think that, like we've been talking about, most of these companies are the CEOs are acting like CFOs,
Mm-hmm.
and the CEO needs to be the dream maker of the company.
He's got to have the passion.
Yes.
And
Yes.
these days it's not. These days it's just the owners. Like they're just it just happened to be the guy who had the most money and decided to buy the company.
Yeah.
Um,
I think Magic is doing this with their release schedule for new stuff,
yeah, yeah.
and I think that they're adding way too much crap way too quickly and adding really crappy crap.
Yeah, and it's their press team or whatever their PR have come out and said that like I think last year they made a big announcement of like oh yes, Magic is making more products, but we just want to emphasize that not every Magic product is for everyone, you know. So you should just interact with the products that you want to interact with. Is just some ad libbed paraphrase from what
You
they
should
actually
make your
said.
products for your whole customer base.
Yeah. Well, and then also, how am I supposed to know what products I want to interact with unless I
Interact with them.
interact with them and learn about all of them? So you have to keep up to date with every new Magic thing.
So, but I don't even
For
think it's
instance.
necessarily just like the the cards themselves and like
Hmm.
what they say and how they interact with their other cards. I think it's so this we just saw the schedule for their releases next year.
Yes. Yep.
And I've even said this a couple times this year where I'm like, man, it seems like they're coming out with a new set every month.
You're relatively new into the hobby, so that
Yeah.
speaks volumes.
And like I'm still vastly enjoying playing my Tyranids deck,
Hmm.
which came out at the beginning of the year,
Yeah.
and I still feel like there's so much I could do with this.
You're so new into the hobby. You have 30 years of Magic history to go through. There's cards you haven't even seen. There's cards I haven't even seen.
Yeah.
Like,
And I'm just sitting there and like, oh yeah, this set just came out, and oh this set just came out, and then oh yeah, they released two cards from the new Doctor Who set, but it doesn't come out for another 7 months. It's like, then why are they releasing cards for it?
yeah.
It's like what the heck? And then next year they have the Assassin's Creed and Nuke, no, not Nuke. What's it called? Fallout.
Fallout.
The
Yep.
Fallout decks.
Assassin's Creed, Fallout, and then I think 2025 was Final Fantasy, I believe. They also announced.
It's like,
And
so,
that's just the supplemental stuff. They still have their normal
Yeah.
standard 4 standard sets a year. And one modern set. And then probably a commander set. A whole commander set, I reckon. I forget.
so it just feels like they're just like pumping out cards
Yeah.
and sets and content where it's like, this is a lot of content to like digest and like
Mhm.
understand. And it goes back to your pricing thing last episode, how we were tearing into Wizards of the Coast with their pricing
Yeah.
schemes.
Just the price gouge for the
I saw an article that was talking about how the booster pack, the draft, the
or
Commander
the
Masters,
collector booster packs or the
no, both booster
Okay.
packs were They were being wholesale purchased from Wizards of the Coast by stores for like $400.
Jeez.
And so the stores are not making any money on them
No, yeah.
because they aren't selling them for more than like 300.
No, and that's like that just means big box stores are not going to pick them up then. Like
Yeah, any store. If
yeah.
they see that, they're like, if you buy 10 booster packs and you're like, oh yeah, and if I need more, I'll buy more, right?
Mhm.
It's like, if the price goes up, well, obviously the demand is there, right? Well, okay, I haven't moved my 10.
No.
Why am I ever going to buy any more of these? I bet Wizards of the Coast are just going to have a stockpile of these. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's rough. I did see one article saying their Lord of the Rings set that came out a couple months ago. It's like, oh, it's performing, on average as well as previous sets, and I'm like, that one was also semi-premium and had a higher price point, meaning you guys sold less if to make the same amount of money as previous sets.
Which is sad because it's Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I
know that got a lot of like Lord of the Rings fans into the hobby. I've heard the sentiment online.
Yeah, but I
didn't spend any money on it. Oh, maybe like $20, but
I
from the secondhand market. So
yeah. I spent zero.
yeah.
I thought that they did a horrible job with many of the Lord of the Rings products that they really were releasing.
It's I don't have high hopes for the future products. Assassin's Creed, Fallout.
I mean, Assassin's Creed is going to be interesting to see because obviously it's the assassin archetype, right?
Well, yeah, it's got to be.
Uh,
That's what I hate because it's like I love this game and I like to see like, oh yeah, that might be a cool crossover, maybe some cool new ideas expressed in the game. But then like I worry just about burnout. They're doing so much.
yeah,
Either they're burning out the game developers, like making a game is not easy, and they're burning out the fan base as we've already discussed. So
yeah. If I were the CEO, I'd be more worried about the fan base than the developers because
uh-huh.
you can find more developers, and, enthusiasts who would be willing to work,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
for one of the games that they love,
Wizards of the
right?
Coast, yeah.
But the consumer, man, I don't know.
Once you lose a customer, it's
I think what they need to do is take their foot off of the gas and coast for a little bit,
mhm,
and then slow down to a much more reasonable pace gradually.
yeah. They've just really kind of started opening up professional events again since COVID. So it's like just slow down, let people get back into like playing Magic in person at events. Like that generates more outreach, community outreach.
Yeah.
Um,
I also think they
build your customers. Like,
I also think they have too many pots on the fire.
oh yeah,
They've got too many just like you've got the commander stuff and you've got MTG Arena and you've got the live events and you've got all of
there's
the what is it?
standard,
Standard, Pioneer,
modern,
Modern,
legacy are the
Legacy,
big events really.
and
There's vintage technically, but we don't talk about vintage.
you're trying to do that, and then you're also trying to come out with these like really cool commander sets with the
Mhm.
crossover.
I told you Arena has a digital only format called Alchemy. So there's game designers that have to design new cards for Alchemy.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
First of
it
all,
is retarded. You can use normal cards with the Alchemy only cards. Oh,
why would you just? I mean, there's so many regular Magic cards. Why would you ever need more?
it was their answer to games like Hearthstone, where because it's a digital only card game, you can do certain digital only effects. Like, for instance, it'll just conjure up a card in your hand, like
Mm.
a fake card, but it's like you can do that on paper, not actually.
I mean, you kind of do though
You
with like
kind of do.
lessons
Yeah,
and learning and stuff like that. Your sideboard is
you
kind of
pull cards from outside of the game. Yeah. So again, it's just a waste. It's a waste of resources for nothing. Nobody's playing that.
yeah.
Or why would you?
So, what are your thoughts on some of the new sets coming out? Let's see. What do we had a list here?
Yes.
What was our
So
list? There
they've
was
had spoilers from Doctor Who, which they're doing 4 commander decks sometime later this year, and the next standard set comes out in a month. I think spoiler season starts literally next week.
for Wilds of Eldraine.
Wilds of Eldraine is their next standard
Gotcha.
set. So standard sets generally have a lower power level, supposed to,
Sure.
than commander decks. But they're also doing, and they've done this previously, but this is just how they sell packs. I'm kind of okay with this because it's reprints and I like reprints. In booster packs, they're selling reprints of old enchantments.
Hmm.
So you know how we just did the Strixhaven booster box, and we had old instants and sorceries
Mhm.
that were reprinted. That was pretty cool with special art. This one they're doing old enchantments in the packs. So there's spoiled some pretty powerful enchantments so far. Of course, I think they spoiled all the best ones first
Obviously.
to get people excited for it. There's still a lot of uncommon enchantments that we haven't seen yet that are going to be in that list, but
And commons.
and no, I think it's probably only uncommons, or they'll at least upshift it to uncommon. Generally, they call them the bonus sheets, the little bonus cards is uncommon and above. But and then they have the normal cards like the standard legal cards from the set, because those extra cards aren't legal unless you're doing a booster draft.
Mm.
And yeah, and so it's like the normal cards from the set so far just kind of seem meh. There's only like a dozen of them, but I'm like, I don't know, not too impressed so far from a commander standpoint.
Does it seem bad though? Because
No,
this is standard pricing, right?
It's standard pricing, presumably. It should be. So that's the average like $5 a booster pack, give or take. Yeah, they seem fine so far. They seem relatively low
Okay.
power. All the cards they spoiled. There was one that'll probably sell packs. It's a Craterhoof Behemoth.
Mhm.
It's a really popular card in green. Is just play Craterhoof Behemoth, tap, win the game. they have one for white now that they've spoiled. So very, very
I like
interesting.
the new card.
Yeah, new card. So it's like the same mana cost. It's like a 6/6 flyer. And when it enters the battlefield, all of your creatures get +X/+X for each creature you control, and flying. So if I have 20 creatures, they all get 20 more power and flying, so you can just swing and kill everybody. That one seems a little strong, but that's
I'm just
clearly
thinking of a spirit token deck.
uh-huh. Where often you get at least like a dozen creatures pretty comfortably.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
So you have a dozen
One
12/12 flyers.
mm-hmm. You can probably win the game like that.
Probably.
So this ever since Commander became the most popular format, they totally just throw in like Commander cards.
Yeah, because you would never use that in like a modern deck
no,
because it's too
it's
slow.
8 mana.
Yeah.
It's so expensive. So that brings us back to the like only interact with the products that you want to. It's like I have to interact with every product. I play Commander, so and everybody plays Commander. It's the most popular format. So that so far we'll probably have more to talk about. That seems okay. The Doctor Who spoilers so far, I'm torn.
So I saw they had the doctors,
Yeah, they have a
and
few
they
of
have
the
a couple. They have like
doctors.
the Daleks.
Yeah,
He was like an artifact creature.
they have all of the because there's the evil deck. All of the villains are lumped together in one deck, so they have their commanders.
How many decks are they releasing?
4.
Four.
So it's like
Oh, interesting.
there's the evil villains are in one deck, and then it's like the newest doctors, the girl and whatever. They have all the old doctors are in one deck, and then there's like I think they call it the New Who era, which is the era that I started watching on American television. It's like Doctors 9, 10, 11, which are generally regarded as the best ones. And if anybody was going to watch Doctor Who, they would recommend those, like
Interesting.
4 or 5 seasons of those 3
Yeah.
actors. And so they've like spoiled all of the evil commanders, and they seem okay. I'm just not a fan of like they're trying to make the flavor of Doctor Who, and it seems okay. They're trying to make the flavor work with like the mechanics of Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, it's a hard crossover to be fair.
And again, this is now in Magic the Gathering, so I have to know this. All of the evil commanders have a new mechanic called a villainous choice, and I was just reading this and cringing so hard, because they just didn't even need to call it this, but it's just so weird. One of the commanders who must be from the new Doctor Who stuff with the female doctor. I don't know this character, but so at the beginning of your end step, each opponent faces a villainous choice. They face a villainous choice, Steven. And then it's like dash, and then it's a sentence. It's each artifact creature you control deals 1 damage to that opponent, or you draw a card, and chaos ensues.
What does the chaos ensues mean?
That's part of Plane Chase, which is like a different sub format of Commander. Yeah, so I don't even really like Plane Chase. I'm okay with Plane Chase, but I don't like my normal Magic cards to interact with Plane Chase. It's just you have like an extra deck of Plane Chase cards for the whole table.
Those are like the big ones.
The big ones, yeah, if you've seen them. And they all have like a passive effect and then like a chaos effect. And then once per turn, each player can like roll a dice to see if either chaos happens or if you go to a new plane. That's all it is. So yeah.
So are they going to include chaos? Or are they going to
Yeah. Plane Chase is going to be in this set. I'm pretty sure they
So
are.
are they going to include it in like the commander decks?
Yeah. It'll come. I think each deck comes with like the 10 of the big plane cards. Huh. It's fine. I think it personally just kind of slows down a commander game because on every turn, everybody goes to roll a dice again.
Like an upkeep, every upkeep.
Yeah, and I don't like my normal Magic mechanics interacting with that because now if I'm not using Plane Chase, that ability sucks. I mean, it doesn't suck. You still draw a card, but facing villainous choices, I don't know. This guy's just, if an opponent would face a villainous choice, they face that choice an additional time. I just don't like the way the game design's going with this.
Yeah.
It was just a little
What about like the Doctor Commander?
Yeah, so a couple of the other ones,
I did see one thing
I do think
where
they're interesting.
they're called Time Wizards is their creature type, right?
Time Lord
Time Lord.
is two words.
But it's one creature
It's
type.
one is Time
And
Lord.
it's not hyphenated though. I saw there was a
Yeah.
big old hubbub about this.
Yeah,
like,
because they were like, is Time a creature type and Lord a creature? No, it's Time Lord.
yeah. These aren't there lords?
Not officially. I think they've all been retconned to like nobles
Oh,
now.
sure.
Is an actual creature type in Magic, but like that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Anybody who doesn't know, having a new creature type in game, because there's a lot of synergies around creature types. But yeah, so it's Time Lord. So some of them look funny. Like this one is a River Song is a character from the show. She is a human Time Lord, like she's a half and half. So she's a human Time Lord rogue.
So she's three creature types.
She's three creature types. It's just a really long text. It looks kind of goofy. But I do like her effect because it is unique at least. It's a passively you draw cards from the bottom of your library rather than the top.
Oh, that is interesting.
That's a cool game
because
effect.
there's a lot of cards that like look at the top three cards of your library
and put them in any
one,
order.
put them in any order at the bottom
on the
of your
bottom
library.
of your library.
And so you could like that's almost like better than scrying. Because you get to draw a card and then choose which one you draw next turn. Interesting.
So she's red blue, so that generally leads to like a lot of scrying is pretty common. Or drawing cards. Side tangent, one of my favorite cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't remember what it was called. But it was one of the continuous spell effects. And both players had to flip their deck upside down and draw. So that was one of my favorite cards because it was so much fun. You get to see what everybody's drawing, but also it's just like deck is upside down. So if the spell goes away, you flip your deck back over.
Interesting.
Her other effect, has more of the build around too, but already like
I feel like there's an infinite.
Already that gets you thinking
because I feel like there's definitely like an infinite combo type thing with it where I think there's creatures where it says like when this creature dies, put it at the bottom of your library.
Yeah.
Or something like that, right?
It might not be infinite, but there's definitely some good
stuff. There's definitely some like interesting combo potential. That's a good ability. I like that ability.
And then the second ability, like, is maybe a little bit of a cop out. Like they thought the first ability was too weak or something. The second ability is whenever an opponent scries, surveils, or searches their library, you put a 1/1 counter on her and then deal damage to that player equal to your commander's power.
Interesting.
So you can.
I don't hate that ability.
I don't hate it, but I think most people are just going to build around that. You force your opponent to search their library or scry or surveil.
Yeah.
Whereas I think.
Although you have to do like 40 damage like that though.
Well, yeah. I mean, she starts out as a 2/2, and people search her in their libraries a lot in Commander. So I think
but if you have 4 or 3 opponents,
yeah,
it's like, oh yeah. So the first time I'm gonna ping you for 3, and then you for 4, and you for 5, and then you for 6, and then you for 7, and you for 8.
Yeah.
Then 9 gets kind of chonky.
Yeah, definitely.
Because then you've done about 15 damage to that, or what is that? 3, 6. So you've done 18 damage to them on their second turn if they do it both. If everyone does it.
If you force them to do those things.
Yeah, that's true. That could be effective.
And then you could be swinging as well.
And you could like pillow fort yourself as well.
To protect your commander to keep those effects because those are strong effects.
Well, you could also buff your you could also like. Oh yeah, what is it? Blackblade Reforged.
Yeah.
Where you give them
+1/+1 for each land, so you can make your commander bigger. Yep. So it deals even more damage.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. That's a kind of
yeah. So it's like they almost don't seem to connect, but that is interesting. I do like it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm torn. I cringed at the Doctor Who, but then also some of the cards that were pretty good. That was probably my favorite one. That's why I brought that up.
What is that one called?
River Song.
River Song.
That's her name. They got some other flavor. Each Doctor I think is gonna have a saga. No, you're not huge on saga cards.
They're okay.
It helps build the flavor too.
Yeah.
Some of the ones I've seen, like some of the Doctors or some of the characters I know, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like,
yeah.
What was another one?
I'm not a fan of saga cards just because I haven't seen one that's like super useful.
That's super good, yeah.
The one in the Tyranids deck, what is it? The War of the Tyranid Invasion?
Yeah, the first Tyrannic War.
Yeah, that's exactly it. is okay because it allows you to get an X creature out for free
Mm-hmm.
based off of how many lands you have.
Oh, okay.
So the first stage in the saga, chapter in the saga, is like once you play it, right? You may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield,
Good.
and if the creature has an X cost in its mana cost,
Mm-hmm.
X, it comes out with a number of 1/1 counters equal to the number of lands you control.
Oh yeah, so it finds a way to cheat the X cost.
Which is cool because you only have to tap. I think it's a 6 cost. Maybe no, it's a 5 cost card. And so if you have 15 lands, you have a 15/15 plus creature out.
You want it to pay itself.
But
Yeah.
the problem is that because you didn't pay X, you don't get the Ravenous trigger.
Oh, to draw a card, yeah.
And because you didn't pay any mana for using your commander, you don't get to copy it.
You can't copy it, yeah.
And so it's like if you don't have your commander out, then maybe it's useful.
Mm-hmm.
But you also don't get the Ravenous trigger, so you don't get the card draw because X technically wasn't 5.
It wasn't, yeah, paid.
Because you're putting a card, you're not casting it with the X spec cost.
Right.
So it's like,
eh.
So maybe in like a different deck where Ravenous isn't a thing for many of the X creatures, like if you're doing like a Hydra deck or something like that,
sure,
then that card would be great because then the chapters 2 and 3 are double the number of counters on target creature.
Dump a big Hydra on the board.
Yeah, so you with this saga on turn, let's say like you play this on turn 5 or 6, right?
Yeah.
You have a 6/6 creature, and then the next turn you double the counters on it, so now it's a 12/12. And then the next turn you double the counters on it again, so now it's a 24/24.
That's good.
It
fits.
So anyway, that's my thought about sagas.
The other interesting mechanics so far they've introduced, seems like the game designers are really scared of the partner mechanic because they always find a way to like not do partner.
Sure.
Ever since they did it, it's like you've seen I have the my Lord of the Rings deck.
Yeah.
It has the 2 characters, but they have friends forever. It was from the Stranger Things secret lair, but then they made normal Magic versions, so they're like these battle-hardened soldiers, and it's friends forever. It's weird. But it's like they can only pair those 2 together as commanders, only if you have the friends forever. Whereas partner commanders can only pair with other partners. This one they have, and flavor-wise, the in the show, the doctors always have a companion.
Yeah.
That's just, they always have a human companion, generally a woman. And so they have some of the companions from the show as cards, and their new ability is the Doctor's Companion. And it's you can have 2 commanders if the other is the Doctor. That's the only reminder text it says. Mechanically, I'm assuming that's obvious. It's like one of the Doctors, but Doctor isn't a creature type. So it just is worded a little weird that they wanted to like obviously make them partners with a Doctor. But it's just the reminder text is odd.
They should have done Time Lord.
Yeah, but then changelings are every creature type, so changelings are Time Lords now.
Oh shoot! Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they wanted a way to say like you can partner with any Doctor, but we can't just say this card only partners with the 10th Doctor. Makes more sense mechanically, but it doesn't allow for what they wanted. So I'm sure it's fine, but it's just another way of like slightly tweaking the rules. But it's cool. I like the partner mechanic. And I guess it's balanced. It doesn't make sense to have this Rose Tyler as one of the Doctor's companions. She's just like a normal human from England. It wouldn't make sense to have her be able to partner with like random magic creatures like an orc. So she has to partner with the Doctor.
Flavor text wise, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And it's that way you like you get the flavor of Doctor Who. It still works in the mechanics of Magic for the most part, and you get 2 commanders, which is always cool. So.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how well the decks look once they release the full
ones. Yeah,
just because like looking at the Lord of the Rings deck, I was just not blown away by anything. No. Yours is good, but you've crafted yours from scratch.
Created it.
Yours is good.
And we even found the other day, it's like, oh, I gotta get this card in here. So there's even still upgrades.
What card was that?
Marionette Master.
Yeah, that's right.
That Sawyer had in his Prosper deck.
Man, Tuesday, no Thursday, when we were
Thursday.
playing. That was a bad day of Magic for me.
Yeah. You did not.
3 games and I got trampled in all 3 of them.
Trounced.
Trampled with the lack of trample. I just got wrecked, man.
Could use some trample for that trampling.
Yeah, the first 2 games I just had no ramp in a green deck.
Yeah, in the green deck. That was a little sad.
And I have plenty of ramp in. Like we went through and
my
like,
red-white deck was ramping better than your green deck.
yeah, it was crazy. It's a green-red deck, but like nonetheless,
That should be even better.
there's a bunch of ramp in it. Anyway, for both of those games, I didn't have any ramp.
Yeah, and then the last game, I think we both got kind of stomped. That was
Yeah, for sure.
we
did a decent amount of damage to him, but we were both targeting him the entire time.
Yeah, and I know I said this Thursday as well, but I thought I did decently well for not casting spells for the second half of the game.
Yeah, you didn't.
Because he had that one enchantment. It's like, oh, whenever you cast a spell, you take 5 damage or discard another card.
That was
so
rough.
every card has to be like a 2-for-1. Basically, you're
Yeah.
spending 2 cards worth of resources. And I was like, none of these are worth 2 cards or 5 life. Because we were already at like 30, 25 ish.
Yeah, I think I did the 5 life once and got down to like 20, and I was like, oof, that was rough.
So I just had like passive effects, or I was just like putting things. I was cheating them into play other
For
ways.
me, it was worth it though on many occasions with my X creatures because I would copy them and get 2 of them.
You get a big 14.
And so 14. I would discard a card to get another 14
to draw 2 cards.
To draw 2 more.
Yeah.
And so I would discard 1.
You could end up was net 0 on cards at least.
Yes.
Which was nice.
Yeah.
But that was tough. He didn't have a whole lot of creatures the whole time, so we were just trying to get in combat damage because he didn't have great blockers.
Yeah, but he was able to like do combat or like tricks to like get rid of him.
It was an interesting gameplay. As always, adding another player would have just like totally changed the dynamic.
Yeah. Especially if like Colin has some like random decks that would have been great against swords. I feel like
every game of Magic is so unique.
Which is cool.
It is so cool. It's like playing chess, but there's just infinite possibilities, billions of possibilities, and you'll never play the same Magic game again.
No, never.
Yeah.
But you're always looking for it though.
Yeah.
At least I am. Whenever I've like played a good game with like one of my decks, I'm like, I want to play that one.
You draw like the best hand. You got the total nuts. And then you're just like, ooh,
your starting hand has all the ramp, all the creatures,
you're just trouncing everybody.
That's what happened yesterday when I almost did. So I mulliganed my first hand on my Tyranids deck yesterday.
Yeah.
But I almost didn't because I had Sporocyst in my hand.
Oh, that's
my favorite card in that deck.
Pet card.
I
mean, your Chiller Pillar.
Except it's good.
Harsh. That cuts me right here.
It's a.
You think 10 mana for a 5/5 flyer is bad?
Compared to Sporocyst?
I've been playing this game a little bit longer than you. All right, let me tell you. 10 mana for 5/5. That's great value right there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I spend 10 mana. I get 10 mana
and 2 5/5s.
2 5/5s and 2 cards.
And 2 cards. Yeah.
So my 10 mana goes a little bit further, or it'd be 11 mana. Because it costs 1 green, so if I want X to be 5.
There you go.
So it's XX 1 green mana for a 0/0.
Okay.
But it has Ravenous, and I get 2 triggers of Ravenous, and then I get 2 5/5 with Defender, to be honest.
Can't attack.
But then they each get me 5 lands, so it's 10 extra mana.
Pretty good.
Next turn.
And then you filter your deck by 10 basic lands out of there, so increase your odds of drawing good cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good card.
That's, it's alright. It's passable.
I think that Sporocyst should be in every green deck.
It is actually pretty good. Any like big mana.
Yeah. Any X, any like Hydra deck or whatever.
Infinite mana. You go get all the basic lands out of your deck.
Yeah.
Would be nice, actually. Write that down. I've been experimenting this week, actually. Building some new decks. Just digitally as I do. See if I like them first. But we talked about a couple weeks ago the Gandalf from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
It was seemed really weird. We weren't high on him in the Commander deck itself, but I was like, I bet I can make a deck around this. It seems okay so far. I'm not I maybe have 50 out of the 100 cards. It's tough. It's tough to do because he was like, whenever you cast a spell, you look at the top card of everyone's library, and if they share a card type with your spell, then you get to copy it. So most commonly is like creatures. Oh, and it has to be a spell that costs 5 or more. So I need to cast like a big 5 mana or more creature generally, and then hope somebody else has a creature on top, and then I get 2 of my creatures. And that's it. That's all he really does.
Doesn't I thought he did damage equal to?
Maybe he does something else, but
Maybe not. I could be wrong.
he himself is like a 5 mana 5/5, so that's pretty chunky. But so I was trying to the whole theme I wanted to build around was like just have everyone's libraries revealed just all the time, so there's like no secrets.
Yeah.
It's just really hard to do. There's only a couple effects that do it. And there's a couple more that kind of do it, but none of them are great. So then I tried combining with like, okay, maybe I'll have lots of ways to shuffle libraries, so I can try
increase
to
your chance of getting
increase my chances totally. But that's also kind of hard to do like cheaply, like just yeah. There's not great cards. It's just like everybody shuffle their library. So I'm still work in progress on that one. The other one I've been building is a colorless deck. I'm slowly building up the they call it the 32 deck challenge because there's 32 possible color combinations in Commander.
Oh, interesting.
So you build one deck of each color combination. So at least digitally, I want to have built
the 32
deck challenge. I think it's fun. Me and my little brother are kind of both working on that as a little side by side project.
It's expensive.
To have in paper definitely would be expensive.
Yeah, well, real paper.
Yeah, yeah. Printer ink. Ooh, it's getting pricey these days.
It's always been pricey.
and paper, but yeah. So just digitally or proxied if I were to print them out and play. But it's been a fun little side project. So I knew I had to do a colorless deck eventually, but every colorless deck kind of played the same before this. It was all either artifact creatures, which are colorless, or the Eldrazi, which is
colorless,
big colorless titans.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to do any of those, so there's a new guide that released with these Commander Masters pre-constructed decks, and he's all about colorless creatures specifically, but he's not an artifact. He's not an Eldrazi.
What is the creature type?
He's a spirit monk, I think.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and so they have had a couple other like colorless creatures, and he does a lot of like 1/1 counters as well. And then in addition to that, he also does manifest synergies, which is like you take the top card of your library and just put it face down, and it's a 2/2 colorless creature. And so the thing I wanted to build around, I got inspired by one of the new cards they printed in the deck. Generally, the manifest, it can be good, can be bad. Different from morph, right? Because you have a morph deck, and then you can flip the creature over for its morph cost, which is cool. Otherwise, he's just a colorless 2/2. Manifest, you don't get a pick. It's just randomly off your library. And then if the face down card is a creature,
you can flip him over.
You can flip him over for his mana cost. But if it's like an artifact, or
and then it does get its ETB trigger still.
Yes, yeah,
because it's technically entering the battlefield.
It's entering as that creature, yeah. But if it's like an artifact or like an enchantment or something else you want, you're kind of screwed. So one of the new cards gave me the inspiration, and I looked and tried to find a couple other ways to do it in colorless, which is hard. So let's say I flip over like or I manifest a good artifact, and I'm like, dang, I want this artifact on the board. If I blink him, if I exile him from the battlefield and return him, he'll come back face up. So then I had the whole idea of cheating out big artifacts. You know, I'm talking like 9-10 mana artifacts. Hulking metamorphs.
Love this.
Because manifest is like relatively easy to do, and then if I can just exile him, I have a 9 mana card on like turn 3 or 4 or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's cool. I'm building that. And again, I'm work in progress on that deck, but it's been fun. It's been unique.
It's kind of a similar thought process to my ninja deck.
To cheat out the big things.
Cheat out, but yeah, in that regard. Right?
Yeah.
Where you cheat out the big things on like turn 4.
Some way to scam, some way to take advantage of the game rules.
Because my perfect hand for my ninja deck would be a blue mana and a black mana,
and then like a soul
ring. Moraine River Prowler, or like
some 1-drop,
Ornithopter of Paradise, or whatever.
Yeah.
My commander, obviously, eventually. And then like 1 or 2 massive chonky boys,
big boys,
like 9/9s.
Mm-hmm.
Because then turn 4, I could play the second land. No, turn 5, I could get a 9/9.
I think you can do it on turn 4 because you soul ring, you ramp.
Yeah, my commander.
So you turn 1, you play land, you play a creature. Turn 2 is a second land, a soul ring, play your commander. Turn 3, you attack with a 1/1 and ninjutsu in. Assuming you need, you don't even.
My
need
commander 3 mana.
Yeah,
he's 1 in black and blue.
1 black and blue.
I
Yeah.
thought it might have been 2 black and blue. No, you're right. He is 1.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, turn
as early as turn 3, you can just be. Blightsteel Colossus is the OP one. I know you don't have in the deck, but he's the one that everybody.
I decided
likes.
not to.
Yeah, turn 3 win just to kill a player is lame, but
yeah,
he's the guy that.
But I do have like the Colossus of Akros, who's a 10/10.
Who's a 10/10 who can turn into a 20/20.
If I pay 10 mana.
Yeah, eventually.
But he has Defender, which kind of sucks afterwards because then I can't get another creature out. Like,
yeah.
But okay, a 10/10 Defender.
It's still good if you force him to attack.
Yeah, because then with like if it was like an Ornithopter where I can just get him out for 0 cost
and
then attack again, I have a 10/10 Defender that I don't ever need to tap.
No, yeah, he's fine.
He's like that is my defense, and then I get another 8/8 out.
Next turn you do the same thing. Yeah, you scam the rules.
Hulking Metamorph. I love that stupid card.
You told me you were trying to find ways to break.
I'm trying to, but I can't. It's impossible. It's impossible.
There's no combos.
There really
gotta be.
There really isn't. I have not found one where that one was close, but I haven't found one that's like.
No. So far, I mean, it's just because he copies another creature. You can find just good creatures to copy, but.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, but, I mean, copying battle triggers or damage triggers or ETB triggers is good, especially with him because he keeps his power and toughness at 7/7.
He's a big 7/7. Yep.
So
very relevant because there's a few cards like in blue even. It's like, oh, when this creature deals damage, draw that many cards. Well, but normally it's like a 1/1.
Yeah, there's also creatures where it's like, when this creature deals combat damage to a player, it deals that much more damage to that player.
Oh, okay, like doubles the damage, or deals that much damage to each other player.
Yeah, something like that, which would be kind of really cool to put into that deck because it's like, oh yeah, I copied that with Hulking Metamorph, and oh yeah, this is a 7/7, so everyone, you take 7 damage, and oh, by the way, you also take 7 damage. Oh, and you take another 7 damage. So I've done 28 damage in 1 turn.
Yeah, just out of nowhere.
With one guy who was a 2/2 flyer.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh yeah, I swing at you with a 2/2 flyer. Oh, you can't block because it's unblockable because of course it is.
That was one of my favorite little partner dudes from the first Commander Legends set. It's just, whenever your commander deals damage to a player, it deals that much damage to each other player. Well, he's like a little lizard thing, and he's a goofy art, but I like it.
That's what the other ninja commander does.
Oh yeah, doesn't she? You like flip the top card of your library and deal its mana value to each
other player.
Yeah, that's so good.
She's only 1/2, but she has Commander Ninjutsu.
Commander Ninjutsu, which is a little broken.
Oh, it's super broken.
Yeah.
It's super broken.
Always. You can just play her for 2 mana whenever, as long as you
want. From anywhere.
Whereas other commanders have to keep paying 2 additional mana each time you play them. So your commander will cost like 11 mana.
Well, but she can even die, and then I just Commander Ninjutsu because it's not casting.
No, it's just 2 mana, always.
It's not a cast trigger.
Yeah. And so always the scam with that deck is like, I think the most expensive card in Magic, mana cost-wise, is 16. So you just find a way to like put him on top of your deck.
Yeah.
Flip him up. Oh, everyone takes 16 damage. And then you can cheese it even more of like trying to put him back on top so you can do it again next turn. Oh, another 16 damage. You guys are almost dead.
Yeah.
That is goofy. But that's Magic. That's strategy.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. What else do we have on our list?
I think our last bullet point you wanted to talk about
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I finally
got a new gun you're working on?
Yeah.
Or just plans.
Plans.
You're building it. Like I build Magic decks.
This is what I do. I build guns.
You build guns digitally.
Mine's a little bit more expensive. No, I don't build them digitally.
You can just print out a paper proxy though, right? Like
you can't just print out a gun too.
Yeah, that's true. Let me just take it for a test run. I just want to try it before I buy the real thing.
Why would you buy the real? It's just the same thing. Dude, I'm gonna start a gun company where I just 3D print
Just 3D print guns.
Glocks and just call them proxies.
Proxies. Official or Wizards of the Coast proxies.
And instead of calling it a Glock, I'm gonna call it like a clock.
Not legal for tournament play.
That's hilarious.
A clock.
A company, if there was a gun competition that did have like official rules on which like you could only use like registered gun
Oh,
companies,
sure, yeah.
or like the gun companies that they allowed, where it's like the big five or
This
whatever.
is a Glock tournament.
Yeah,
whatever.
they would get nowhere in life
No.
because there's so many companies that do stuff that like Glock clones, but they're like race gun specific Glock clones.
Yeah, and it's not even like secondhand. Like, yeah.
No, it's like higher quality.
It's just other companies that
it's like way higher quality than Glock makes. But anyway, yeah. So I got a, let's see, 9 months ago, I got an AK.
Cool.
And
That's a cool gun.
my first AK, my first piston operated gun.
Mhm.
Yes.
Did you get like one of the modern ones, or did you get the legit like the wood stock, the wood?
No, I mean, it's modern. It's instead of wooden furniture, it's just plastic.
It's a scary black gun.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
But it still has it's so the
functionally an AK.
well, the furniture is also styled after the original AK, but instead of wood, it's just injected more
that's
cheap
fine. That's
plastic, right? But I finally like nailed down exactly what I'm gonna do to it, because you didn't know this. The AK platform was great in 1945 when it was invented.
Almost 100 years ago.
Yeah, when Mikhail Kalashnikov invented it.
That's what the AK stands for.
The K in the AK stands for Kalashnikov. The A stands for like
automatic.
It's something like that.
Yeah, automated something.
Assault. No.
Assault rifle. 15.
No. It stands for Kalashnikov, but I don't remember.
I forget.
It means automatic, right?
Yeah,
but I don't remember what
in Russian.
The Russian word. It's like automatic or some crap like that. I don't know how to say it. I don't know Russian. But yeah.
Let me pause you because I forgot to ask. What is it chambered in? The traditional.
Yeah, 762 by 39.
Okay, cool.
762 by 39.
Because I know you can get them chambered in basically anything now, but.
Yeah, so the original AK was in 762 by 39.
Mm-hmm.
Modern AKs are in 545 by 39, which is a comparable. It's actually a really, really good bullet.
That's what I've heard. I've never fired one myself.
It's a really good bullet. The 545s. It's similar to 556, which is what an AR-15 or M16 or M4 shoots. Any stoner rifle shoots a not any stoner rifle because AR-10s shoot 308.
To someone who doesn't know.
Oh yeah.
Stoner rifles.
The AR-15 was developed by a guy named Eugene Stoner. That's what it's called, the Stoner family of rifles.
Yeah.
Right? Just like there's the Kalashnikov family of rifles, which are the two main families of rifles in the world.
You gotta get this rifle, bro. It's a real stoner.
What was cool was I watched an interview between the two of them.
Oh,
where they talked to each other.
How long ago? Like in the
90s.
Yeah, all right.
After the wall fell.
Interesting.
They were both super old.
Right.
But they had a translator, obviously, because one spoke Russian, one spoke English. And they were talking about like they each like there's a super cool picture, and I'll see if I can find it and put it up. But of Eugene Stoner holding an AK and Mikhail Kalashnikov holding an AR next to each other.
That's nice.
And I kind of want to get one framed because it's super dope.
Yeah,
like it's super cool.
You're bonding.
For like a gun nerd, it's like, oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's this like argument online about like ARs are so much better than AKs. It's like they're both fantastic. They're both great. Like I don't know what anyway.
Not to bash on your community because we bashed on mine plenty, but there's some gun people who are just like
there are so many gun people who are stupid.
I'll say I was gonna say they're passionate. They're very passionate and set in their ways.
No, they're stupid.
Stubborn.
They're stupid.
I have a story for another day because we maybe want to do a whole like gun video, gun handling, beginner gun safety. But long story short, like my wife wanted a 22, and everybody in the world was trying to sell her a 9mm. She's like, I want a 9mm. I want a 22. They're like, the 22 sucks. That's a bad cartridge. You want a 9mm.
People are dumb. People are stupid.
Yeah. So
people are stupid. Anyway, So yeah, so I got this AK, and um, when I got it, it was an AK, and it wasn't the most expensive AK in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had to, finagle it a little bit to make it work real nice how I wanted it to.
Okay.
A lot of oil, a little bit of filing in
Had
there.
to slap it and
Legitimately,
and beat it.
hit it with a hammer a couple times.
Rub some sand in it. They work better that way. That's how they were designed.
Only if it's Afghan sand, though.
Yeah,
You have to buy a special.
Ship it from Afghanistan.
No, but yeah, I filed a little bit here and there to make it feed more reliably.
Oh, cool.
But just because it was
just jamming a little bit.
Yeah, the rim of the cartridges was catching on this little. It had a real sharp edge in the feed chamber, or on the feed ramp to chamber the round, and so, it was catching on the crimped edge of the cartridges. So it was, and so like I would literally just smack the gun and it would chamber it.
Wow, yeah.
And so, but I was like, this is annoying.
You don't want to do that every time.
No.
Yeah.
And so I just like rounded that.
And that worked.
Yeah,
pretty easy.
Fine. Yeah,
wow, yeah. Okay, cool.
And then oiled it up nice and good, got it all greasy and wet because
put a bunch of rounds through it. I reckon that's always
a bunch. No, a good amount. Yes,
they say like at least like 100, but probably 500 is a good amount.
Yeah,
from what I've
breaking
read.
in. Yeah, when you breaking in guns is always like a weird thing because some guns need it, some guns don't.
Sure.
And like it depends. Like if you're doing like competition shooting, like you do need it because your barrel changes.
Yeah.
Because there's micro fissures inside of barrels when they're either cold hammer forged or not beaded.
The other one, you've told me about this before.
What is it called? Buttoned.
Yes.
And so there's like micro fissures, and the copper jacket of the bullet will fill in those micro fissures and change how fast the bullet comes out of the gun. So you have to put like a bunch of rounds down range through those guns to fill in those fissures, and then you can't use like a copper solvent to clean the gun because then it removes all that,
gets rid of it. Yeah.
And so for like super precision stuff, you want to clean the barrel, but like just run oil through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just get all the gunk out of it.
No acid.
You don't want to like use any solvents necessarily.
No acid wash.
No. Anyway. So it's a standard AK is what I got, right?
Yeah.
And the fore end on AKs blows. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah. Not a fan.
Blows. So I'm gonna replace that. I found this really cool rail system that goes on it because the AK has it's two pieces of wood or plastic that kind of sandwich over the barrel. And are just kind of like sit there.
Yeah.
And they're about that big.
Right. They're pretty wide.
So you have one place to put your hand. Which is fine if you're 1947 Soviet soldier.
Yeah.
Modern world, not as much.
Yeah, because you want to slap a Picatinny rail on there, I reckon.
Or an M-Lock or whatever.
Sure.
I like M-Lock. I'm an M-Lock fanboy. I like Picatinny too. I am part of the quad Picatinny rail gang for it.
Nice.
But anyway, there's a bunch of companies that make Picatinny attachments or M-Lock attachments for the front that replaces the handguard and go on there really solidly so that you can actually mount like zeroed lasers on there if you want. I'm not going to mount one of those yet. But I'm going to do that, and then there's this. So one of the problems with AKs, especially original AKs, the Russians have changed it so that now, like the AK-104 has a seated top plate, a top dust cover, so that you can actually mount an optic on it.
Okay.
But most AKs, the dust cover on the back is it's just like a loose piece of sheet metal, right? Because the sight sits on the front trunnion, and then there's the front sight which sits on the barrel.
Yeah, just sticking up from the barrel, right?
Yeah, and so. Which is great for iron sights, right? It's not great, but it works for iron sights because those are both like pretty solidly attached to one another, whereas the dust cover like wiggles all over the place.
Oh, geez. So trying to put an optic on that.
So I found this company that makes this cool thing that you take the rear sight out because they're on these weird little
you can just
spring systems.
Unscrew it or
yeah, it's not a screw necessarily. It's like a little spring pin tension system. It's really interesting. But you take it out and then you replace, and it stays in there solidly, right? It's pretty strong. So you can actually replace it with this little thing that has the same input like system. It attacks the same way, and then it lies right over the dust cover.
Okay.
Doesn't touch it, but it rides right over it, and it's a piece of Picatinny.
No way.
Yeah, so it's a piece of 1913 Picatinny rail,
That's cool.
and yeah, and
So that
so
you can attach with it. Yeah,
you
what do
can
you want?
mount like a little red dot on
Yeah.
it, right? I wouldn't do like a scope,
Sure.
but like a
sure.
red dot is probably fine. So
Light enough. Yeah.
I'm gonna do that with a red dot, and then the front section for the light,
Cool.
and
cool.
I'm gonna replace the stock to actually like be useful
Yeah.
and not just be a piece of plastic that's like this. It's so thin.
Does it absorb anything? I mean,
Zero.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't
Zero.
guess.
The thing kicks like a Russian on vodka.
That's as it was designed.
As it was designed. That's one of the charm of Russian guns. Is like, in all fairness, American guns work fantastically, but they're kind of like pussy guns. Like an AR, if you're shooting an AR, it's like the first time you shoot it, you're like, wow, that was loud.
That was
But they're
loud.
just loud. They don't kick at all.
No, they
Zero.
really don't.
Zero. AKs and like Mosin Nagants.
Oh, dude, yeah.
It's just like so.
It's
The
just
Mosin's my
slapping your
favorite.
shoulder,
The
like-
Mosin's my favorite though because the Russians are like, yeah, you have a wooden stock with this massive cartridge. Oh, and by the way, we're just gonna put a steel butt pad on
Yeah,
it
yeah,
for
that's
you,
right.
so you're just getting whacked in the
Really?
face by steel.
I know you guys probably didn't have rubber when you made the gun, but jeez, couldn't come up with anything else.
It's so funny. I love that gun. I love Mosins. But yeah. So I'm gonna put a nice
A better stock on it.
stock on it. It's gonna have a. It's really cool. It's
Get some carbon fiber.
it folds and it has an adjustable butt piece so you can like raise and lower it so you can get a different cheek weld.
Interesting, yeah.
Instead of being like on the gun, you can be like on the gun, which is like I kind of like shooting like this more than like this, right? So yeah,
What is your end goal for this gun? For fun, for target shooting, home defense,
for fun.
for fun. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
I just want it to be useful though.
Yeah, useful. Yeah, that's why it's the laser, the flashlight,
Yeah.
in case you had to. Like,
Yeah. I actually really like the 7.62x39 round for home defense more than like a 223.
Sure.
Just because the 223 like it's such a chunky the 7.62x39 is such a chunky round that like you really kind of have to mortar the shots if you're going pretty far out there.
But like for short range.
But for short
really
range, it's
good.
I mean, they even developed a new round called 300 Blackout that is chambered in AR-15 platforms.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That is effectively the same as a 7.62x39, just different casing.
Oh, yeah, all right.
They used a regular AR-15 or a 223 case, which increased the diameter of the bullet and the size of the bullet,
That's cool.
and decreased the powder load behind it.
Mhm.
But it has very similar ballistics to a 7.62x39, and they claim it's like the best home defense gun or caliber, right?
That makes sense,
So it's
yeah.
like, well, I got an AK and it's like the same thing. So
Yeah,
and yeah, chunky bullets, a lot of energy
that's cool.
put down range.
That's a man's gun.
Louder than sin though.
Oh, I bet.
Louder than sin. But yeah, so I'm pretty excited to get that all built out. It's gonna be a tad bit of money.
Next couple paychecks, and then
Hopefully,
cool.
if the wife allows it.
Ah, yes.
I think she will because I just got her a Switch, so
There
I think
you
I've
go.
got a little bit of a playroom to.
It's a good idea. I was like, I'm kind of due for getting a shotgun, but I've been waiting for a good time. I was like, maybe I'll get the wife something nice. And then,
Yeah. Well, depending on how much you want to spend on a shotgun and like what you can.
I'm looking generally just for a home defense shotgun. So,
Well, there's a couple that they just.
my dream shotgun is like a Benelli Supernova, but
Well,
I don't think I have the money for that right now.
No.
So,
there are some good replacements. We can talk offline about that.
Sure,
There's
sure.
Some Berettas that are
oh, okay,
under $1,000 that are.
nice, yeah.
But yeah,
But then one day, the Benelli Supernova.
maybe. Yeah,
That's John Wick shotgun.
it is. It's true. This
Yeah.
is true.
It is also a good gun. Even before I saw the movie, I was like, that's a good gun.
Yeah, I'm just a fanboy of Berettas. That's what my
Oh, okay.
competition gun is.
It's a Beretta.
It's a
yeah.
Beretta.
Gotcha.
And,
Sponsored.
I wish.
No,
Dude,
yeah, that would
Mountain
be
Dew
cool.
and Beretta.
Mountain Dew and
Beretta.
Beretta would be set. Maybe some video game thrown in there, but Mountain Dew kind of covers all that, so
Yeah, true.
it's the gamer fuel.
Yeah. Mountain Dew, Taco Bell. We need Taco Bell sponsor
yeah,
too.
we do need Taco Bell. Gastronomy,
Yeah,
we didn't talk about any food this episode, but
it's true.
generally we do. So
It's true. I just got here's the food.
here's the food.
Last
Last couple
Date-
minutes.
Yeah, last night, date night. We went to this ice cream spot in Tempe called Sparky's.
Never heard
It's
of
on
it.
ASU campus. I don't know. And they had a bourbon pecan pie ice cream with a real pecan pie, like
That's cool.
a blended piece of pecan pie,
That's cool.
and real bourbon.
Nice.
And I got that last night for my dessert.
And then Steven did not drive home because he had one drink.
I did drive home. There was so little in it. Like,
yeah, no, it's like cooking with it. I mean, it's like,
yeah, but it wasn't cooked off, so there was definitely alcohol in it.
It was bourbon, but
I mean, the flavor of the alcohol was definitely there. It was very good.
nice.
But anyway, there's the food. So
There's the food. We talked about food.
I think we got everything in this. No, we didn't talk about God this episode, but that's okay. Amen.
Amen. All right. Till next time, everybody.
Till next time.
I gotta end every episode with amen, just so we get it in there.
That's funny.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the 5G podcast. We hope you enjoyed.
As always, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this content.
We're available on all social medias, as well as you can watch or listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts.
Again, thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next week.
Thanks.